let's jump in, Jake. Someone did a cut and paste of headlines out of Minneapolis, and I found them so funny that I sent it to you. I will throw it up on the YouTube video. I'll paste it in there. But for listeners, I'm just going to read every headline in order. Some of them have dates, some of them don't. So I'm just gonna skip the dates because I'll do the first and last date. The first date is June 26, 2020. June 26, 2020. NPR. Minneapolis Council moves to defund police, establish holistic public safety force. Next headline, Washington Post. Minneapolis violence surges as police officers leave department in droves. Washington Post's follow-up article, Minneapolis City Council alarmed by surge in crime months after voting to defund the police. This is September 2020. Moving over to Minneapolis Public Radio. With violent crime on the rise in Minneapolis, City Council asks, where are the police? Moving down to a follow-up on Minneapolis Public News. Minneapolis Public Radio. Some Minneapolis City Council members would like a redo on defunding the police. And then finally, the Associated Press, Minneapolis to spend $6.4 million to recruit more police officers, February 13th, 2021.
There we go. Tax dollars well spent.
So my favorite part about this is people that are saying they voted to defund the police, but they didn't actually do it, but police left anyway. Of course they did. If you are saying, and again, we could do an entire half an hour on this. One, defund the police does not mean what people think it means.
No.
But two, when you put that shitty message out there, you're like, hey, police, fuck you. We're going to take your money away. And we hate you. And all you do is beat up citizens. Who's gonna want to be a police officer?
It's a pretty rough title, and then a lot of the rhetoric behind the sort of slogan was kind of implying that anyway. So I know I've made this comparison on here before, but it would be like if I go, look, teachers are having to do too much. Okay, they're having to be their own security guards. They're having to be like therapists and counselors. They're having to bring in box lunches for kids that can't afford it. You know, I think that they should have to do less things. So I have a plan called defund the teachers. And for some reason, the teachers unions don't want anything to do with me. They're ignorant. They're not reading my plan. And so that's kind of what was going on there in terms of the cops leaving and everything. But I was like, the progressive people who did this in Minneapolis, you should thank your lucky stars for COVID, because were it not for Donald Trump fucking up COVID-19 so bad and his response to it, he totally would have won 2020 because of this shit right here.
Well, and not just that. You have to, well, because this happened during COVID, but imagine if the police had all quit when people weren't like quarantined or going out less, or, you know, it could have been a lot worse because people were staying inside more.
I mean, shit. I was in New York. They basically did quit during COVID, man. Homeless people were running crazy on the train, dude.
Oh, wow.
Cops weren't doing shit.
But I absolutely hear you. Like, what they should have done is what you said. Hey, teachers are doing too much. They have to be their own security guards. They have to teach the kids. They have to act as the nurse because we cut the budget there. I have a plan. It's called Double Fund Our Teachers. We're going to hire more nurses and security. Like, that's what they should have done with, instead of defund the police.
Or even just reform, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is they had
not even reform, because that's still like do something like empower, like, I don't know, expand the police force, like you and I have talked about, because police officers are generally overworked. So fucking double the amount of police officers so that they're not all, and pay them so they're not all fighting for overtime and working 10 cases and solving none. But yeah, say, you know what? Police officers shouldn't be therapists. We're going to add a therapist role to the police force to join them, or when dealing with a crazy homeless person. If the homeless person has a knife, then the police step in. If the homeless person does not have a knife, then the trained therapist counselors can talk the homeless person down.
I think they had to pick that title because they had to pander to the people that really do hate the cops, like on the far. far left, we like, well, we still want the votes of the abolish the police people. So I know we'll call it defund the police, and it's actually filled with like really smart shit, but we'll give it a stupid fucking title so that we can pander to the stupid fucking people and still get their votes. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes that kind of thing doesn't work.
And alienate the police at the same time, because I think you and I have talked about this before, and you just mentioned it, like, uh, but personally, take away the hypothetical of the teachers. Personally, when was the last time, Jake, someone just said to you, "Hey, Jake, I have an idea on how you can be a better person. It's called 'Fuck you, Jake, you suck,'" and you went, "Ooh, I'm all ears. Let me listen to this wonderful idea now that you've just insulted me." Nobody likes being insulted up front and then being told actual good advice. If you have good advice, just say, "Hey, I've got some ideas. Let's sit and have a conversation." Not start with something that may be demeaning or insulting and then expect to be paid attention to.
Well, but the places that we're pushing this kind of things, we're slashing police budgets as well. So it's not just that it's well, we're gonna hire all these people to do all these other roles, because that's gonna take more funding. They were cutting the fundings at the local level. So it's weird hearing people complain about a lack of police in places like Minneapolis, or especially like Portland or something, where they've really been going hard against the cops.
Yeah, where they let that downtown area be a free zone for a couple months until they realized Chaz or whatever that wasn't going to work.
Right. And then they basically, the first thing they did once they took control of those blocks is they made their own cops who went around just beating people for fucking filming stuff. Exactly. And it's like, you don't see the irony here? But when you have to call the cops, if you're one of those city council members who is a hardcore, like, abolish the police person, you kind of look like
we had that. Remember, there was a story, a city council person who voted to defund the police, said the police, whatever,
right,
then started getting hate mail or spam phone call, or protesters outside her house, and then said, "Why aren't the police getting these protesters off my lawn?" I remember that. We had a story where someone said, "The police suck, fuck the police, defund the police. Oh, now I'm going to call the police because I have protesters outside my house. Where are the police? Why are they not coming to help me?"
It was a great story a few times. Yeah. And then there's been like actors who were super, like hard against the cop, and we need to abolish the police. But then they were constantly going, "Oh yeah, but we need a cop to guard my Jaguar though while I'm filming." Just goofy shit like that. It's when you do that, you kind of look like right wing people after this train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, going, "Why isn't the federal government stepping in to do something?" And it's like, "What, dude? Oh, you mean the liberal nanny snowflake people trying to create the nanny state, trying to overregulate the industries? Why aren't they stepping in?" I don't know. They tried to before the train crashed, and you wouldn't let them.
Not just that, but you want the federal government. You are always trying to slash the EPA and take away regulations. And then a train crashes, maybe, just an accident, or maybe because there was a few loose ends, a little less regulation than there should be. And now it's all the federal government's fault. But as far as cutting police budgets, yes, the point, as you and I know, is they were trying to demilitarize the police, because they were saying police do not need all the military equipment that they get.
And that's true. I agree,
and that is true. But that again, like, so when they cut the budget, they're not trying to cut pensions or pay. They're trying to say, you don't need an MRAP in Portland, Oregon.
Right. And I'm definitely with some of that. It's just that, if you're doing that combined with the rhetoric of like, oh, defund the police, abolish the police, this and that. I mean, yeah, a bunch of them are going to bounce, because they're going to be like, "Hey man, this isn't a good future for me here at a department where the civilian leadership in charge of me is constantly coming at me for what some other guy who's not me did 7 states away." Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd fucking bounce if I was them too.
I would as well. I would not. It makes no sense that you'd be like, "All right, I have to go," and I have police officer friends, and I mean, it's been discussed. You don't know. You've seen video. It's rare, but if you walk up on a car to ticket it, that someone might have a gun or they might start some shit, and it needs to be de-escalated on both sides. But the idea that, okay, here I am putting my life on the line. I have to see the worst of humanity. I'm the guy that shows up when a dude just beat the shit out of his wife and killed his kids, or I'm the one that has to go to a front door and say, "Hey, your daughter was just killed in a drunk driving accident." oh, and you hate me and, defund me and you have all this nasty rhetoric. Yeah, that's a job I want to keep. I see the worst of humanity and I'm treated like shit. Good call.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, man. I definitely wouldn't do that shit.